Alright, we are back for the round 2 of Foundation's Plane Chase Mega Draft. We are still following Emmett after his win round 1, and now he is facing a good friend, Evan Peas of Crab. We know Emmett will be starting on Zur, and Evan, one of his main commanders is Garna, which he also drafted even though it was one of the free options, so it will be in both of his decks, assumedly.
Yeah, he looks like he's queued into a Garna deck, although not 100% sure.
There we go. Alright, Garna first.
Emmett survived by a hair there in that last
I know, so impressive to stabilize on that huge board. The Siphon Essence to get the second swamp. Great match.
We've got a great hand here. We're on a swamp and 2 mountains. Mourner Surprise, Cartouche, the black one, as well as Rowan, his other alternate commander, list, and a Flowstone infusion. So,
Emmett's got this Evo Wilds, 2 Island Swamp, Karn, our lovely Karn, Buccaneer, Shatter the Oath, and now a Sphinx. So it's a very high cost hand. He will be able to play Zur at least, I assume was the redeeming part of the hand. And he has drawn a 5th land, so eventually he will play all these cards. We'll see if it's too slow. What does this initiate do?
Great question.
I don't know this one offhand.
Played immediately.
I know it's from Aminka, is why I don't know it. Okay, Rowan has hit the board. I have to imagine, as long as Emmett remembers to play a swamp next turn, Rowan might get shattered. But we'll see. Karn could be taking 4 damage here. But that's at least 4 damage that Emmett isn't taking.
I'll check what the initiate does. It's something we should know.
Yes, thank you.
As it sits there looking to be activated.
Yeah, because I assume Evan has an option of blocking with it, having it die to Zur, but then infusioning the Zur. Wow.
With power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn.
So no treasure for Evan, but a free kill on Karn. So sadly he was only 4 mana, make a Power Stone, and save 5 life, I suppose.
And we have Krenko in hand.
That is going to be a problem. Emmett has used his 1 removal on Rowan. I don't know she's that big of a threat. Obviously, the Menace was going to be a problem, but Emmett's got 2 lands and 2 5-drop flyers in hand.
Those did some real work in the last game.
Absolutely. Sphinx looking good. If he could draw an answer to Krenko, he'll be alright. But just another land, so a bit concerned. He's considering whether he swings with the Zur to get the Buccaneer trigger or just plays the Sphinx.
Q5 is a powerful stat line here against this board.
Certainly. Although I don't suspect Krenko cares much about swinging here.
Yeah.
I think he's just going to try and overwhelm Emmett while Emmett tries to fly over. He's thinking about the Buccaneer. Yeah, I think he needs to try and dig for an answer. Haven Initiate. We've got more flyers.
lots of initiates on the board.
Yeah, really? They have a lot of those on Amonkhet, I suppose.
I expect we'll see, yeah, Garna at an attack. It leaves open the Flowstone.
I bet he could equip Pick on that initiate and make it very hard for him to block.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Can you remind me exactly what Garna does?
Garna gives you rewards if your creatures die while attacking.
Right.
So you draw a card if it's attacking. If it's not attacking, it deals 1 damage to the opponent. So no good options, really, for creatures dying from this point forward.
Emmett's considering if he can swing here. He drew Shriek Mass for turn, so next turn he can double spell 4-drop flyers. So I assume his goal would be to win in the air before Evan can overwhelm him on the ground. 3/5, at least a very good blocker.
Yeah, although not into what's coming, I don't think, because of the Flowstone infusion.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a problem.
What, the ward is 2 on this?
Yes, 2.
Evan has been lucky to hit lands turn after turn. He'll start needing to hit gas soon, but he was out of land drops after turn 3 and has now gone 3 in a row.
Yeah. Emmett's last opponent Emmett's last opponent seemed to also luck into some lands after that 2-land keep. But I would think a lot of our players are running higher than normal land counts for Brawl.
Does Emmett have any interaction here?
No, he's got a land and 2 4-drop flyers. Does Evan have 2 pieces of interaction? Or just the Flowstone?
Well, not during combat, but the Cartouche of Ambition can apply counter after combat.
Yes, that would be a problem.
I think this is going to be a Flowstone infusion.
Yeah, but I think that's probably fine for Emmett. Obviously, giving Evan the card is probably the worst part. Zur at least can come back and isn't animating anything right now.
That's going to be all game. There's no way to really stop that from here out.
Yeah, absolutely.
The card in question was the Knight of Dusk's Shadow, which is going to be a menace, literally and figuratively.
We know Evan took that one very highly in that pack, despite not being in black yet. Okay, Emergent Haunting for Emmett.
We saw that used to great effect in the first round.
And I believe he could play it in Zur this turn, but I don't think it would become animated right away.
No, it needs to wait a turn.
Emmett was counting the number of goblins from Kranko before deciding to attack, and has just decided, if you can't kill me this turn, I'll kill you. Which is not a bad way to go about it. I don't think Evan has lethal on a swing out here. He does have food, so he's technically at 14 life. And Emmett only has 12 damage.
He has the Cartouche of Ambition, which can...
lifelink.
So,
it's gonna be close.
So he puts that on the Knight, plays another Swamp. I think the Knight has to be blocked at that point by 2 creatures. Probably losing either the 3/5 or the other 2.
I think if if Emmett doesn't need to block, he could play Haunting next turn and have it Surveil to put something in the graveyard to buff Shriek Mass. And that might be 14. So if Evan doesn't use the cartouche, that would be a winning line, but that's a stretch.
He's got to be looking at the potential lethal here.
Mm-hmm. Interestingly, the added night text of opponents can't gain life could matter for the Zur Emergent Haunting.
Yeah, that could be critical, given how the previous game went. Oh, interesting. On Garna. I'm a little surprised on the Garna play, but I suppose it's the safest in that you want your opponent to target Garna.
Right. It's the thing you know you can get back easily.
Although we do have a Mourner's Surprise, which returns a card, a creature card from the graveyard.
And makes the token. That would be quite bad here as well if Emmett puts a lot into trying to kill Crank over the night. Yeah, I think the game's gonna end pretty soon here.
Wow.
Interesting. So, Evan could pump the knight once. He's gaining 6, and he could gain even more.
He could pump it twice, right? The treasure.
Yes, the treasure. He's gaining 6 life and could gain 3 more life, so Emmett does not have clapback at all. Do these tokens dying trigger Garna?
I assume yes. Yeah, it's just creature. There's no non-token.
Alright, so Emmett should probably block something like the Witch with the Sphinx. Obviously a little risky, but I think I would have liked to save more damage there.
That is going to refill his hand.
Yeah. Garna, very good. Very curious what Evan's second commander is going to be.
We just drew
it might be
into one of the cut to ribbons.
Oh. That's face damage, right?
That does go face.
Yeah. That will probably be it. If Emmett doesn't draw something insane here.
He's looking at casting the cut immediately.
Then he gives it away, but probably still worth it. I do wonder if Emmett will bring in, I believe when we saw his deck earlier, he had the Malfunction in, but not the split card that did -2 on the front side. I'm curious if he'll be bringing that in for this matchup. Interesting. Emmett has drawn Imperial Oath, but it will not be enough against Ribbons. So we'll move on to game 2.
So I suspect we'll be seeing Rowan as the game 2.
That would be my guess, and it'll really depend on if he can find the Garnet in the deck, I feel like.
I'd be interested to see how different a build Rowan would be, or whether it's just a straight 1-for-1.
I agree. I would be very curious. I know Emmett, Zur, and Voharp decks are slightly different. He's also looking to add in his black cartouche to the Zur build. I'll be curious if he goes for the Troyan for the game going first, like he did last time.
A great success.
Looks like he took out the Prairie Dog, so it's just Mystical Tether and Imperial Oath. As far as white cards.
Scion of War cares about reducing black and red card cost by the amount of life you lost on your own turn, since it's only an activation as a sorcery. Not clear if Rowan is intended to use that ability or just to be a 4-2.
A 4-2 menace.
That recurs.
Because you could probably have something that, like, lose 2 life, draw 2 cards would be a way to lose life on your turn. I think if we had, like, Bloomber or something in here, you might have more ways, but I think only one of those effects is all you can really do. So I assume it's just your poor man's Garna.
Yeah, well, in fact, it looks as though we are editing the Garna deck right now. So the sideboarding is happening in the Garna deck, as far as I can tell.
Oh, and then he's just gonna change the commander, I guess.
I assume that's why you'd be doing this.
Very funny. Emmett has queued into the Troyan deck. I assume going first, the ramp looks really good compared to the Zur value.
Yeah, Rowan has left. Oh no! Oh, it's Lagomos.
Oh, I think that's probably correct. I think I'm more scared of a Lagomos than a Rowan, as far as bringing it back multiple times.
I didn't realize that we had Lagomos, but Lagomos is actually one of the...
It's the other uncommon, yeah. I think someone picked one up during the draft as well, but...
I do remember that.
Emmett has texted me he's going to walk past me to go fill up his water and then back into the office. So I'll mute. Yeah, honey, come fill up your water. Luckily,
for those still watching at home, we are making some slight adjustments to the original deck to take advantage, presumably, of the Lagomos abilities. Lagomos creates a 2/1 every turn. It's a red elemental creature with trample and haste that is sacrificed at the end of the next step. And then Lagomos has a very exciting ability of being able to tap and tutor any card in your library, but only if 5 or more creatures died in the turn. So would love, obviously, to see that activated at some point today. It's a familiar circumstance for Emmett down the first match. Zur having failed on the play. And now queuing in with Troyan. Big total color shift.
yeah, I'd be very interested to know if any other players drastically change depending on if they're going first, which matchup it is, like if you want to play your best commander versus their best commander for the first game. Because assumedly most people are queuing in their best commander first. Or if Emmett's the only one that's sort of varying heavily on the color choices. Alright, getting started. Troyan and Lagomos. See what Evan makes of this.
We've seen a great array of commanders already here in round 2.
Agreed. I have loved seeing the variety. Emmett's
We've
got...
kept a 2-land over here.
We've got 3 islands, Forest, Haunting Figment, Ominous Sphinx, and Season of Renewal. Notably, the Sphinx can be played on turn 4 with Troyan on 3. What's Evan got?
We have a couple of 1-mana removal spells, Rat Out and Magma Spray. We've got the Mourner's Surprise, which never left our hand in the previous game. Decides against the Magma Spray, but will almost definitely Rat Out here, leaving up Magma Spray again. Then we've got Skewer the Critics. We just picked up a 3rd land, which was hugely fortunate. We've also got the Eerie Soul Tender. We saw a few of those going around.
Yeah, it felt like every black drafter picked up one of those almost.
So I think the play here has to be to Skewer the Critics. Offering him the trade.
For the Magma Spray.
Spray, yeah.
Emmett correctly not taking that bait. With the cheap Skewer, of course.
Doesn't really do much, just allows the Magma Spray to stay up.
Yeah.
Well, see, that could be the difference between this game and game 2 of the first round, where Troyan was allowed to ramp immediately into a 5-drop flyer that just took over the game.
Agreed. Now Emmett will have to wait another turn. He's drawn Decisive Denial and Disruption Protocol, so he's debating between playing a 3rd island and a 2nd forest, but is just going to hold up for those. And we'll have to play his 5-drop flyer next turn. I would be interested if Troyan ever hits the field again, or how many turns later it will be.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about Troyan as a commander, is that really its value is about coming down on curve and giving you that ramp.
Absolutely.
It seems much less valuable to drop it on 5 at a premium cost, unless you're ramping to a 7-drop, and even then.
Like, the filtering's not bad, but certainly not worth 5 mana when you just have 5 mana flyers in hand.
I think Evan played this knowing that it was coming into a counterspell.
I think he was prepared for the counterspell, certainly.
We've got some breaking news here, which is that the winner, will go on to play Matthias, who has beaten DeWitt in the other semifinal.
Interesting. DeWitt, notably with the Sword of Wealth and Power. Very impressive.
So once again, baiting a Magma Spray here.
Emmett, once again, not taking that bait. And, you know, getting rid of the permanent one. Also not bad. He has drawn a Phantom Interference. So we now have that, Decisive Denial, and Season of Renewal for when our Sphinx ultimately eats it. Season of Renewal, notably an instant, which is rare for that effect, I feel like. Very nice for this counterspell heavy deck, as much as it has less enchantments than the Zerg deck.
That card was an absolute banger in its original format. Its original
Insanely.
format was about 20% enchantments.
Yes. And Blossom Prancer. Emmett has decided to pretend that he has Shore Up with the Troyan. Very smart. He does have a 1-cost blue spell in hand, but it's because Phantom Interference is lying about its cost.
Once again, Magma Spray bait.
Yep, I think it's finally going to get cast. I think Evan doesn't care if there's a Shore Up here, but I also think Emmett isn't terribly upset about Troyan dying there. It's not great, but... Ooh, value.
Maximum aggression.
Interesting. Emmett has drawn a Careful Cultivation for turn. Notably a hit for Season of Renewal if he decides to cycle it.
So the reason to bring back Soul Tender here, as I see it, is that you've got two cards in hand. That card and Rakdos joins up. So you're hoping to hit something big in the yard for Rakdos to reanimate.
Makes sense. If Lagomos dies, there's some chance Evan should keep it in the graveyard for the Rakdos joins up. Obviously risky for counter spells, but being a legendary, actually hitting on the Rakdos joins up is notable. I think it's probably too risky, but it is something you could do.
And we picked up a Seismic Wave.
Oh, very aggressive. Emmett holding up. Careful cultivation and interference here. Decides to let the Soul Tender resolve. Anything good? Stingblade Assassin. Perfectly fine.
So the Seismic Wave would kill the Sphinx if it decides to block here.
Emmett could choose to counterspell. Oh, Evan does not go for the Seismic Wave.
Well, maybe now, but no.
Interesting. I don't know if that one's an instant or sorcery off the top of my head.
It is an instant.
Okay.
And it also deals 1 damage to a bunch of other creatures.
Right.
So potentially some value foregone by not doing it, but 2 damage to any target. Perhaps he's saving it for face, but it doesn't feel like we're there yet.
No.
Here's our old friend Garnet.
There's the legendary he wanted to hit. Wow. Terrible news for Emmett.
Yeah, quite.
Lagomos with Garnet goes absolutely crazy. If you ever block this token.
It doesn't even matter if you block it because it's a sacrifice. So the blocking it in combat draws a card.
Right. This'll ping. Yeah.
So I mean, it matters, but
it definitely could. And notably, if Emmett removes the Garna, it will just be gotten back. Which is pretty unfortunate.
Rakdos joins up is waiting.
Mm-hmm. The tight spot here for Emmett.
Yeah, he's got the big flyers that, or at least one of them, that did the job in the other games that Troy has in the other game. But
Evan's just putting on a little too much pressure for Emmett to be able to swing freely. I think I probably would have swung with the Sphinx last turn and just say, you need to kill him, especially because we didn't know about Garner yet.
Yeah, Garner makes it worse.
Because I think you're not really stabilizing here. I think you just need to outrace if you can.
Yeah, although it's a long way
yes,
to go here.
Absolutely. Interesting.
We've seen a lot of looters over the course of these 2 matches.
Absolutely.
How long does that -2, -0 effect last?
I want to say just until end of turn, but we will soon find out as we get a second trigger.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Seems very powerful at instant speed too.
Yeah. Emmett opted to keep a land there and get rid of the counterspell. Okay, yeah, it is just till end of turn. He was digging for an answer and he did not find one.
We might just Rakdos join up the Soul Tender. Zathos will probably attack with the Garnet.
Yeah. It's gonna be tempted to trade, and then we know bad news is coming, unfortunately.
Yeah, with shields down.
Yeah. That's an instant concede from Emmett. Alright. That's 2 wins for Evan. So we will be following him into the finals versus Matthias, which we will be right back for.